Welcome back to Game Talk 24/7. I'm your host, Josh Cunningham. Before we get to the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and like the video. It really means a lot. It really helps out the channel, and I appreciate it more than you know. Also, don't be afraid to comment down below. Without further ado, let's talk sports. Hey guys, welcome back to Game Talk 24/7. And man, do we have a week for you. It is rivalry week in college football. It is one of the best weeks in all of sports. Right now, this week is also feast week, so happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. I hope you guys have a great time spending time with friends, family, and loved ones. But man, it is rivalry week. It is one of the greatest single moments of a college football. It is the greatest single moment of college football season. Forget the national championship. Forget bowl games. Those are all fantastic. But rivalry week has a special place in all of our hearts because it is where we see games that you can throw out the regular season. You can throw out statistics. You can forget about what's happened through the course of the season, and anyone can win, and anything can happen. It is one of the best weeks in sports every single year, and it all starts in Columbus, Ohio, and going through the border to Michigan, to the team up north, with the game. The greatest rivalry in all of sports. It all starts between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. Two teams who hate each other. Two fan bases who passionately loathe one another. And it all starts there on Big Noon Kickoff at 12. And it's like clockwork. You have a game that means so much to so many people. Last year, Ohio State lost to Michigan in a game everyone thought Ohio State would win. Myself, as an Ohio State fan, I thought we would win. And Michigan said, no. You're going to try and play like us, and we're going to show you how we're better at our game. This year, can Ohio State turn the tables? Can they flip the tables and say, hey, we're not going to try and play like you. We're going to try and play our own game. This year, Ohio State travels to Ann Arbor. They're going across the state lines. They're going to the team up north. And they're going to play in Ann Arbor against the Wolverines, their biggest foe. And this time, they're going to do their best to come out victorious. They're not going to stoop to play Michigan's way. Unlike last year where they tried to prove that they're the more physical team, they're the more tough team. They're going to try and play the way they know how to play, getting the ball to Jeremiah Smith and Carl Tate. As of right now, they have not been cleared to play, but they have both been saying that they think they'll play this week. Jeremiah Smith said he's had injury issues, but he's pretty confident he's going to be able to play on Saturday. Ryan Day said he's confident they're both going to be able to be good to go on Saturday. So, as of right now, we don't know if they're going to play. But if you're Ohio State, you want them to play. And if you're Michigan, you're scared if they play for the purpose of. It just gives Ohio State its full juice. It gives them everything they've got. They're an engine. They are a Ferrari. They are a train. They are a bullet train just heading to a collision course when they have their full team in full health. And nothing can get its way and stop it, because if you try, you'll get bulldozed by the train. That's exactly what they are. And that's exactly how they feel coming into this game. ESPN's matchup predictor gives Ohio State a 78.2% chance of winning, and Michigan a 21.8% chance of winning. And right now, let's see, are the betting odds in yet? I cannot find the odds for the game. So, as of right now, I don't know what the line is. I think it was 10. Whatnot. It was 20-something last year. And, we saw how that went. Ohio State lost. I was devastated. A lot of Ohio State fans were devastated, angry, frustrated. All of the emotions that we feel through a rivalry game all happened last year. I was crushed. I went into that game thinking, we're going to blow this team out. I don't even have to worry about it. And guess what? Again, rivalry week. Anything can happen. And it proved me wrong, because anything happened. Michigan said, you know what? We may not have a quarterback who can throw that well. We may not have our best running back room that we've had in the past couple of years. We may have 4 losses, is what I think they had last year, going into that game. But you know what? We're going to outman you, and we're going to show you how rivalries, anything can happen. Again, Ohio State has lost the last 4 games against Michigan and hasn't won the rivalry game since 2019. They didn't play in 2020, so they haven't won since 2019. Ohio State and Ryan Day look to get that monkey off their back. They look to jump the hurdle that they haven't been able to get over in the last 4 years for the first time in a long time. They look to set their eyes on things bigger. They're playing for hardware now. They're playing for a pair of gold pants. Then if they win, they're playing to go to Indianapolis. They're playing to go to Indianapolis if they win and play in the Big Ten Championship against Indiana. And it's something that no one on this team has done when it comes to all the players that are playing. None of them have done at Ohio State. They're all looking forward to going and playing for something meaningful. This is when you see the brakes that are the brakes that are on get taken off, and you go from 2nd gear all the way into 4th gear without even thinking. This is when you go from 30 all the way to 100 in a matter of mere days, a matter of mere seconds, a matter of seeing your opponent across that sideline on the other side of the field saying, hey, we want you. It's that way for both teams. It's that way in every single rivalry. And in this rivalry in particular, anything can happen. Because it's happened in the past. We've seen crazy games. We've seen crazy losses and wins in ways that you never expected. And well, this year, it won't be any different. You'll see 2 teams, 2 titans at the top of college football history battle it out against each other, trying to bestow the rightful ownership of who is going to have bragging rights for 365 days. Who gets to say to the other, we don't care that you won your bowl game. Michigan fans will say to Ohio State fans, we don't care that you won a national championship, you didn't beat us. That's how big this game is. That's how big this clash of titans of college football history are. You have 2 of the biggest programs ever in college football history going at it every year. And it's like cinema every year. Because every year, something amazes you and something makes you more shocked than you were the year before. In this matchup, you're going to have Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith, Cardinal Tate, Max Clare, Brandon Ennis, C.J. Donaldson, Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, Julian Sayin on the offense, going against a Michigan defense who does not have Mason Graham anymore because he went to the NFL draft after last year. But they still have their defensive coordinator, Wake Martindale. And you have a Michigan defense that, while it hasn't been as good as it was in past years, still solid. And then you have a Michigan offense of Bryce Underwood. You have Jordan Marshall. Justice Haynes will not be playing. But Jordan Marshall has showed for Michigan these past couple weeks that they don't need Justice Haynes to be good because Jordan Marshall is a solid back. But you have Jordan Marshall. You have Jordan Marshall, again, as I said. You got Bryce Underwood. You got Andrew Marsh. You have Donovan McCulley. You have Samaj Morgan. You have a better receiving room than you've had in past years, a better quarterback than you've had in past years. Your running back room is better than it was last year. Jordan Marshall has shown he's a tough physical back who can run and run through contact. You have a solid room going against Ohio State, who has Caden Curry, Cade McDonald, Kenyatta Jackson, Edric Houston, Taiwan Malone. You have Sonny Styles and Arvel Reese, the best linebacker duo in the country. You have Davis and Igbinosun. You have Caleb Downs. You have Jermaine Matthews. You have so many players on that Ohio State defense that can make plays, that can be playmakers. It's, again, cinema. Who's going to win? We'll find out Saturday. Because I'm biased, I will not make a pick on on this game because obviously I'd be picking Ohio State. This is when that helmet on the back wall either gets lifted in victory or hung back up in defeat. It's whether it either gets rose in victory and stays off the wall for bowl games, Big Ten championships, and national championship runs, or it gets put back up on the wall in defeat and awaiting to be hoisted again another year and adding a Buckeye leaf to that helmet in another year. That is this game. And because, again, I'm biased, I'm not going to make a pick because obviously I'd be picking Ohio State. I believe Ohio State will win. I don't know if they'll cover because 10's a lot in a rivalry game like this. But I do believe Ohio State will win. Another rivalry that's one of the biggest in all of college football and in all of sports is the Iron Bowl, Alabama versus Auburn. And in this instance, Alabama is fighting to keep their college football playoff hopes alive. If Auburn beats Alabama and has one of the biggest upsets in that rivalry's history, Alabama won't be going to the college football playoff. They'll be going to another just simple bowl game, and Auburn will be laughing because they'll be like, "We ended your hopes and dreams. We crushed them. You had them all right in front of you, and we took them away from you." They're gonna be sitting laughing, just watching as Alabama then falls into the pit of despair that would happen if Alabama loses this game. ESPN's matchup predictor gives Alabama a 73.5% chance of winning and Auburn a 26.5% chance of winning. I honestly don't see this game being close. Auburn is fine to be bowl eligible. Alabama is fine to be in the college football playoffs. Alabama is clearly the better team. They got Ty Simpson. Their running room hasn't been great. They got Ty Simpson. They got Ryan Williams. They got Bernard. They got Jeremy Bernard. They're good. They're solid. Auburn, on the other hand, they don't have the same weapons Alabama has. They've struggled all year, but they've slightly looked, I think, a little bit better since firing Hugh Freeze. Let's see, what has Auburn done in the last 2 games? Hey, they beat Mercer. They lost to Vanderbilt 45-30. That's a close game against Vanderbilt, against a good team. And that's on the road at Vanderbilt. Then they beat Mercer 62-17. So they've looked better since firing Hugh Freeze. The question is, can they do the same thing against Alabama? And they have to go to Alabama. It's at Auburn. Sorry. I misspoke there. Yeah, it's at Auburn. 100%. Misspoke. Misread. So, yeah, it is at Auburn. So they have the leg up there. The stadium's going to be rocking. The environment's going to be rocking. The atmosphere's going to be crazy. It is at Auburn. The question is, again, how will Alabama show up on the road? I think they'll show up well. And I think the game shouldn't be close. Alabama should win. But as we've said before, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. I would pick Alabama to win. I don't know what the spread is. I'm not going to look for it. I would think Alabama will cover the spread. But unless the spread's crazy big, I would think Alabama would cover the spread. But I definitely think Alabama at least is going to win the game against Auburn. I just don't think Auburn defensively can stop Alabama's weapons when it comes to their passing room. And I don't think offensively Auburn can get anything going against Alabama's defense. Then you have another rivalry who last year did not disappoint. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Last year that rivalry did not disappoint. It went to what? Something like 8 overtimes? I don't remember the exact number of overtimes it went to, but it was something like 8. Haynes King just looked like a warrior going into battle and coming out with scars and bruises. Now Georgia won eventually in overtime. Late in like the 8th overtime or something like that. But it was crazy. It was pure cinema. That rivalry did not disappoint last year. This time Georgia goes to Georgia Tech. Now, it won't be at Georgia Tech's home stadium. It'll be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium because of how big this game is going to be this year. But Georgia Tech is the home team. And you can see Georgia Tech. They might not have a chance to make the college football playoff as of right now with where they're seated. If they beat Georgia, something crazy could happen. You could maybe see them sneak their way in. But I don't think they can't go to the ACC championship. So, at least as of right now, they can't. A lot of things would have to happen for that to happen. So, with that being said, this is just them being given the opportunity to upset Georgia and disappoint Georgia's season. And while in college football, there's no draft.
There's no NFL draft. There's no tanking. You try to win every single game, whether you're losing or winning. And this is where you try to upset your rival. You try to upset your opponent's fan base. You try to make them go home crying. They came to watch the game. They came from afar or from not that far away. And you just get to sit there and watch them go home crying, crushed by their hopes and dreams being taken away from them. Georgia needs to win this game to have a chance of going to the SEC championship. Actually, it doesn't affect the SEC championship because it doesn't affect the SEC standings. Because Georgia Tech's not in the SEC. But they need other teams like Ole Miss, Alabama. Georgia needs some things to happen to go to the SEC championship because from what I've heard, I don't 100% remember how this would shake out, but you have 4 teams tied with one team with undefeated Texas A&M, which we'll talk about them in a little minute. Then you have 3 other teams tied with 1 loss, Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama. And I don't remember exactly how the tiebreaker shakes out. I think if Georgia and Alabama win, Alabama would go over Georgia because Alabama has a head-to-head win. But I don't 100% remember. And if it was Georgia and Ole Miss, Georgia would go over Ole Miss because Georgia has a head-to-head win there. And so I don't exactly know how it shakes out because you have some interesting scenarios that could play out here. But Georgia, you got to win. It doesn't impact the SEC standings. It just impacts your college football playoff standings and being 1 loss or 2 loss and where you're going to be ranked. And then 2, just impacts your pride and the confidence you have going into either the conference championship for the SEC championship or bowl games and the college football playoff and all of that. So you just got to win. But I don't exactly, it doesn't affect the SEC championship because Georgia Tech's not in the SEC. But just win. Do your job. It's your rival. You want to make them go home crying. That's how this goes. Again, like I said, you have now Texas A&M, Texas. I didn't make a pick on the last game. I think Georgia's going to win. I don't think Georgia Tech's got defensively anything capable of stopping Georgia's offense. And then unless you just have an inconsistent Georgia offense show up where they're not playing well and they're not performing, I also don't think Georgia Tech's offense will be able to handle the physicality as much of Georgia Tech's offense won't be able to handle the physicality as much as Georgia's defense will. Now, they're still going to be good, but again, it's a rivalry matchup. You could see anything happen. You could see cinema like you did last year between these 2 teams. Or you could see Georgia just kind of take control, take charge, and win. Now you got Texas A&M, Texas. And while this does not really have college football playoff implications when it comes to who's going to get in, Texas doesn't have a chance of getting in really anymore with 3 losses. Texas A&M's already in. The question is, where will they be seeding? And that all depends on what happens here, kind of. But you have a rivalry between 2 in-state rivals that hate each other. They don't like each other. Now, this might not be big as the Red River rivalry or the Red River shootout between Oklahoma and Texas, but this is a huge rivalry when it comes to in-state lines of Texas A&M versus Texas. Who will stand on top? Who will stand victorious? Right now, ESPN's match predictor gives Texas A&M a 48.5% chance of winning and Texas a 51.5% chance of winning. Now, why is that? Because it's going to be in Austin, Texas. It's going to be at Texas. So Texas A&M is going to Texas. The thing is, Texas A&M has the better team. They've got the better offense. They've got the better defense overall throughout the season. They've had it at least. The question is, what will Texas play like? Because Arch Manning's come around. He started playing a lot better the past 4 or 5 weeks. He started looking a lot better. Now, while Texas may have recently lost to Georgia, they also just whooped Arkansas 52-37. Now, their defense giving 37 points to Arkansas is kind of a problem. And if they do that against Texas A&M, they're not going to win. But I don't see them doing that against Texas A&M. I see them coming in and playing their best because it's a rivalry game. But, again, Texas A&M's... I would pick Texas A&M to win this one for the purpose of they have looked better all season. When I say better, they've looked more consistent all season. Because Texas has had really good moments. But they've also had a lot of really bad moments too. Especially that game against Georgia. And so if you see Texas A&M come out and play their best, it just doesn't look good for Texas. Because again, with just what's happened throughout this season, it's been a struggle for Texas, offensively and defensively in moments. Texas has all the talent they need to win this game. it's like going into a store, going into the candy store, looking around for your favorite thing, and then you see just everything. It's like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's like Willy Wonka. You see everything. They've got everything you could ever want or need when it comes to candy. Texas have everything you could ever want talent-wise when it comes to football. But they haven't been winning as to the extent that they can. They have 3 losses this year. They could be a team who'd be in the college football playoff right now and compete for the SEC championship with the talent they have. But that talent has not produced and performed to their ability this year. And Texas A&M's has. Texas A&M has also been at this point before, where they've had really good seasons, and then they've fallen, and then all of a sudden one game gets them, and then they fall short. Now, they're not going to fall short of the college football playoff, but this game against Texas could get them. They could lose. Then it could start a spiral of them losing the SEC championship, and then them losing in their first round of the college football playoff. It could start a spiral. So if you're Texas A&M, you want to keep winning and stay strong, because you don't want to start something that could spiral into disaster later on in the future. Now, as you saw last year with Ohio State and Michigan, Ohio State lost to Michigan, and it didn't spiral into disaster. It actually put them in gear and got them going and made them tougher and stronger and better because of it. Now, will that be the case this year? I do not know, but it always could be. Next game you have Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Ole Miss right now is secured in the college football playoff. But if they lose to Mississippi State, depending by how much, they might not be. If, like, let's say they lose really badly by like 35 points, which is not going to happen, but let's say that happens. Ole Miss would probably fall out of the college football playoff. That's probably not going to happen, though. Ole Miss is probably going to win this game. ESPN's matchup predictor gives Ole Miss a 78.4% chance of winning, Mississippi State a 21.6% chance of winning. I would see Ole Miss winning this game and securing themselves in the college, making themselves even more secure in the college football playoff. The question is where they'll be ranked. They're probably already secure now. Again, even if they lose this game by like 3, they're probably still in. If they lose by a lot, though, they might not be, but they're probably already secured in. So it's just about playing and seeing where you're going to get seated. Mississippi State's just been inconsistent this year. They are in total of 5-6, 1-6 in the SEC. I don't see them getting their second SEC win against Ole Miss. So Mississippi State's just kind of been like, had good moments this year, beating Arizona State, had a lot of bad moments this year. And that's kind of how it's been for Mississippi State the past couple of years. Ole Miss has been trending upwards the past couple of years, and this year they're taking that step forward again under Lane Kiffin. The question is, does Lane Kiffin stay at Ole Miss, or does he go to LSU or Florida? Does Lane Kiffin stay? Because if he leaves, he would leave his team during the middle of a college football playoff run. Because LSU and Florida are going to want someone during the transfer portal, a coach there during the transfer portal, which the season's still going on. The college football playoffs are still going on during the transfer portal. So they would want a coach there during the transfer portal to be able to recruit, to get high school recruits, transfers, and all that. So again, does Lane Kiffin leave his team amidst the college football playoff run to go to LSU or Florida, or does he stay at Ole Miss? I think he would be dumb to leave at Ole Miss, especially with what he's doing at Ole Miss. Now, when you think of college football, you think of LSU over Ole Miss. You think of Florida over Ole Miss, yes. I would think of LSU over both of them, only for the purpose of LSU recently has been better than Florida, and Florida's gonna have money. LSU's gonna have money. Both of them are gonna have money. But LSU's been more better than Florida recently, and won a national championship more recently than Florida. So it just leads LSU to being a little bit of a bigger brand right now than Florida. Maybe not historically, but right now. And so also LSU is still a big brand historically. I mean, they had Nick Saban win a national championship there. They've been good. I think Nick Saban won a national championship there. They've been good though. And so you see that, and sorry, hold on, give me 1 second. You see that, and it's like, okay, will he leave Ole Miss to go to LSU, who is a better brand again than Ole Miss? LSU is, but with what he's built at Ole Miss and how they've been doing, why does he have to leave? Why does he have to leave? Why to win a national championship at Ole Miss when he can do it at LSU? And yes, Nick Saban did win a national championship at LSU. I was about to say, I had to rethink about that for a second. I knew he did. I said remember. I was about to say, because him, Ed Orgeron, I think all of LSU's head coaches, except for recently, except for Brian Kelly, have won a national championship there in their tenure. And so, but again, why would he leave Ole Miss when he has the ability to win a national championship there? Maybe not this year, but maybe in the future. Because he's been building towards it every year. Why leave? He has the resources. He's been showing that they can play at that level that LSU wants to be at, just at Ole Miss. So why leave during the middle of a college football playoff run when you have the chance to be in the mix for this year? You could be in the mix for the national championship. Now I don't think they'd win it in this year, but they have the ability to because they're going to be in the playoff. They're given that opportunity. So why go to a program who's struggled who has maybe not struggled, they've had the talent and the resource, but the coaching has struggled to get them over that hump these past couple of years, when you could be at a place that you've built and you have good coaching at, and you have decent players, maybe not the same players that are there when it comes to capable of getting the same players that are at LSU due to recruiting, but you've built a brand that could be capable of that one day. Why would you leave? I personally wouldn't. But I'm not Lane Kiffin, so I don't know what he's thinking. Another big rivalry matchup, you have Indiana versus Purdue. It's another in-state rivalry. Purdue doesn't got a shot. Indiana has been really good. Against a rivalry, anything can happen, but Indiana has been really good all year long. They're way better than Purdue. Purdue is 2-9, 0-8 in the Big Ten. They just haven't been good. So that's not really a big matchup. It's just a rivalry matchup. It's just a big rivalry. It's a big in-state rivalry because, well, recently Purdue's been dominating Indiana basketball when it comes to that rivalry. But it's just a big in-state rivalry. It's more of a big basketball rivalry than it is a football rivalry. Usually Indiana is not this good, so usually this rivalry matchup might be a little bit closer. But Indiana's been good these past couple of years, so I don't see that happening. You have another big one. I wouldn't say this is a big rivalry matchup. It's more of just a big game. It could be a big rivalry matchup, but it's not as big as others. You have LSU and Oklahoma. It's more so a game that this year has implications on the college football playoff. If Oklahoma loses, they're not going to the college football playoff. Right now, they're secured in the college football playoff, even with 2 losses, with how they've been playing recently. But if they lose, they're not in. So Oklahoma needs to get business done against LSU. LSU 7-4, Oklahoma's 9-2. ESPN match predictor gives Oklahoma 73.8% chance of winning and LSU 26.2% chance of winning. It is going to be in Norman, Oklahoma at Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma at 3:30. And again, that's just a game that has college football playoff implications. It's not. I don't expect LSU to win. I expect Oklahoma to win and secure themselves in the college football playoff. But if LSU upsets Oklahoma, you could see LSU put Oklahoma into a pit of despair and crush their hopes and dreams because they wouldn't be going to the college football playoff then, with their 3rd loss being to LSU. So it's just a game that has college football playoff implications and implications on kind of how you feel going into bowl season and college football playoff season. Because if you're Oklahoma and you lose, you're not going to be feeling good going into bowl season. Whether you win your bowl game or not, you're not going to care. If you're LSU and you win, you're going to feel better going into the offseason than you did before if you lose. You're still not going to feel great, but you're going to feel better than you might have before this game. And so it's a moment of, hey, Oklahoma, do your job, take care of business, go win. You also have Oregon versus Washington in a classic rivalry matchup. Washington's 8-3, 5-3 in the Big Ten. Oregon's 10-1, 7-1 in the Big Ten. It will be at Washington. This is a classic rivalry matchup. A huge rivalry matchup. It's not easy. Oregon is not going to just be able to cakewalk to victory in this one because it's a rivalry matchup that's just been close every year. Now they could. Oregon could just blow out Washington if they wanted to. Or Washington could keep it close and somehow upset Oregon. It's at Washington. It's hard to play at Washington. That's a hard place to play at. It's a hard place to win in on the road. But you see games like that, and you see teams like Oregon, who Oregon's beat up right now. They're not physically healthy, so they're not their best. And so you could see Oregon not play as good as they possibly could, and you could see Washington make a little bit of an upset. Oregon's missing some key players, and Washington is there right for the picking, just waiting lurking in the shadows, waiting to upset Oregon's day, to take away Oregon's dancing. Now, they might not keep Oregon from going to the college football playoff, but they might keep Oregon from hosting a home game in it. They might keep Oregon from having a favorable matchup in it. They might take Oregon's chances away being the Big Ten championship away. Because let's say one of Indiana, well, not Indiana, because Indiana beat Oregon, but let's say Ohio State loses to Michigan. Oregon would fall into that Big Ten championship slot. Now, I don't see Ohio State losing to Michigan, but I'm just saying, what if that happened? Oregon would fall into that Big Ten championship slot. But if Oregon lost to Washington, they wouldn't fall in. I think Michigan would fall in because Michigan only has one Big Ten loss. And if, Michigan beat Ohio State, then that one loss would be null and void, and they would fall in. But again, due to their head-to-head over Ohio State. But again, I think Ohio State's going to win. So this matchup, while it might have Big Ten championship implications, as of right now, it doesn't. When I say as of right now, meaning as of right now, you expect Ohio State and Indiana to win. If they both win, then it doesn't matter what happens to Oregon. Now, the game, like I said, could have Big Ten championship implications, but it also might not if Ohio State handles business against Michigan. And so you look at that factor and you say, okay, Oregon, you're playing for the college football playoff. You're playing for the Big Ten, your spot in the Big Ten championship, a chance to get in the Big Ten championship. Not a spot, but a chance, a sliver of hope. Except when this game happens at 3:30, you will already know if Ohio State beat Michigan or not. You will already know if Ohio State's going to be in the Big Ten championship. So if you're Oregon and Ohio State wins, then you're not playing for a Big Ten championship, spot in the Big Ten championship anymore, or a chance to get in there, because Ohio State's already cemented themselves in there. You're just then playing for great seeding in a favorable home matchup in the college football playoff, because you don't want to lose this matchup. You're a 7 seed. Only the top 8 seeds get to host a home game, with the first 4 getting a bye. And so, let's say Oregon loses to Washington, they fall to 9 or 10. They're not hosting, and it's not a favorable matchup because they're going on the road to a team that's going to be solid. Now, let's say they win, they stay at 7, 6, or they stay at 7, or they move it to 6, 5, or 5, somewhere in there. Then they're hosting a home game, and they get a more favorable matchup at home. At Austin, where it's a tough place to play. I expect Oregon to win. Again, ESPN's match predictor gives Oregon a 75.1% chance of winning and Washington a 24.9% chance of winning. With Dante Moore at quarterback, Oregon's been really good this year. We can't forget about Damon Williams Jr. for Washington, who's been good and solid. And then Jonah Coleman, who's been a solid running back. For, when I say solid, he hasn't been, crazy. But he has 14 touchdowns, which is solid. He has 14 touchdowns on 100 and, let's look here. He has 14 touchdowns on 135 carries. Could be better, yes. But, putting the ball in the end zone 14 times is good. He's solid. Is he the best running back in the country? No. The best running back in the Big Ten? No, not even close. But he's been solid. Yeah, he's been good enough. Especially when it comes to getting and punching the ball in the end zone. But it's really Damon Williams Jr. who's been doing it for Washington this year and been a star. He has 2,721 passing yards, not 200. 2,721 passing yards this year. And a total of 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So, and his pass rating's been 168.1. So, 168.1. So, again, he's been good. His completion percentage is 73.6. Again, he's been good. And so they have good players. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. I expect Oregon to win, though, and beat Washington. Just kind of due to what's going on here with both of these teams. Next, you have Tennessee and Vanderbilt, which could have college football playoff implications. Because Vanderbilt, they have 2 losses. They're looking to sneak their way in there. And the only way that can happen is if someone ahead of them loses. But if someone ahead of them loses and they sneak their way in there, they have to beat Tennessee for that to happen. And they are going to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, so it's going to be hard. Now, while Diego Pavia has had a good year, a really good year. So is Joey Aguilar. And so you see a good quarterback matchup. You have Eli Stowers at tight end for Vanderbilt, who's been really good. But again, it's tough game on the road. Tough game on the road at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. And it's a good match. It's a good rivalry matchup. It's a great week to have it in rivalry week, one of the best weeks in all college football. The question is, again, can Vanderbilt stay afloat in the college football playoff race? Because while they need someone ahead of them to lose, they're not out of it 100% completely yet. They could sneak their way in if someone loses. And with some of the matchups you have, that could happen, maybe. But Vanderbilt has to take care of business. They have to beat Tennessee. ESPN's match predictor gives Tennessee a 57.6% chance of winning and Vanderbilt a 42.4% chance of winning. So it's not looking favorable for Vanderbilt when it comes to the match predictor. But Vanderbilt has been the better team this year. They've been a more solid team. But they're going to be on the road at Neyland Stadium, which is a tough place to go play in. I mean, Josh Heupel's beat Alabama there, even with Nick Saban, and even when Alabama saw Nick Saban there. And so it's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to go on the road and win. Now, it's happened because, well, Georgia went into Neyland Stadium and won. So, it happened. Is Vanderbilt Georgia, though? No. And Georgia, did they win favorably? No, they won 44-41. It was a close game. So it has happened. And Oklahoma recently just walked in there and won. 33-27. So again, it's happened, but does not mean it's going to happen this time. That's going to be a good matchup. I think Vanderbilt should win if they play their best. But that Tennessee team is also really good, especially offensively. So it's going to be a good game. That'll be a good matchup. That'll be a good game. And last but not least, while we're not going to go really deep into this one, this is just another in-state rivalry matchup that has some ACC championship implications for one team, Virginia versus Virginia Tech. If Virginia loses, they're going to fall out of the ACC championship spot. If they win, they're going to remain in it and they're going to go to the ACC championship. So that's why this game's important. Now, Virginia shouldn't lose. They should win. They probably will win. But that's just something to state there in this kind of in-state rivalry that could happen. Again, it is rivalry week in college football. It is the greatest time in college sports. It is one of the best weeks in all of sports. You have one of the biggest rivalry. You have some of the biggest rivalries all taking place. You have the Iron Bowl. You have the game between Ohio State and the team up north. And boy, am I excited for it. I know you guys are going to love this weekend. I know I'm going to love this weekend. This is going to be a time to where you enjoy spending time with friends and family and enjoy Thanksgiving. And then another time where you go in to Saturday and Sunday and you say, man, what a great week it is to watch football. That was Game Talk 24/7. Thank you guys for watching.